I'm going to do here for you as we take a look at this is kind of give you some case studies in massive retaliation. And at its heart, when massive retaliation is at play, President Eisenhower is using something called brinkmanship. The idea here is that, like this picture of the eagle and the bear, you go to the brink, like the eagle is here on his edge of the cliff, the bear is on his edge of the cliff, and you're staring each other down. You were getting ready for war. You were daring that Soviet bear. Just come one step closer, and I'm taking it to you. The idea is that nukes will make the Soviets back down because they don't want a nuclear war any more than we do. But the difference is we've actually dropped the bomb. They know we have the guts to do it. I'll give you some other case examples of where this brinkmanship in massive retaliation works out, because some people really kind of are afraid of this, right? Like, what happens if you go to the edge and the other guy doesn't blink? What if they actually start war? Will you have the guts to do it? And a good example of this would be China, right? And you can see here on the map, right, here's North Korea, had gone communist after World War II. You know, we fought in South Korea. And here's a little tiny island called Taiwan, and of course, communist China. When the communists took over China in 1949, anyone who didn't want to be communist fled. And the place that they fled to was Taiwan. And since 1949, China wants Taiwan back, and they still do today. They want to bring Taiwan back into China proper. People in Taiwan don't want that. So Communist China starts looking for ways in the 1950s to seize Taiwan, to bring it back into Communist China. But Eisenhower looks at Communist China as kind of like a barrier, a way to contain, or he looks at Taiwan, I should say, as a barrier, a way to contain communism in Asia. So he says to Congress, I need you to let me use force if we're going to protect Taiwan. Because look, we've got China and North Korea. And right along the line, we have our allies holding them off, keeping the commies contained. The South Koreans, the Japanese, Taiwan, the Philippines. We can't afford to let these countries fall to communist China. The conflict goes on for several weeks, and the president actually threatens to use nuclear war. And here's the scary thing, folks. He issued a resolution that effectively stated if China didn't back down within 2 weeks, he would actually drop the bomb. It was recommended that we drop the bomb on China. Thankfully, the Chinese do withdraw from Taiwan, we can withdraw from our threat of nuclear war, and everyone backs away from the cliff. Nobody goes over the edge. Another example, Suez Canal. You can see it down here. This right here, this little red area is the Suez Canal. It's owned by a French and a British company, but it's in Egypt. Egypt was an ally of the Soviets. So the Egyptian government, in an attempt to help the Soviets, hurt the British and French, who were part of the West, seized the canal. Really sparks an international crisis because now Britain and France have had someone take things from their companies. So they go to war. They paratroop their army and their navy lands, and it's a full-out war going on in Egypt. Even Israel gets involved, invading Egypt to help the British and the French. When this happens, when Israel invades, when the British and French join the invasion, the Soviets come to their allies' help and say, listen, Britain, France, Israel, either you back down or I'm coming over this ledge. America, when it sees the Soviets preparing to actually invade, threatens nukes to everyone, not just the Soviets, but to also invade and to push back Britain and France as well. We actually turn on our allies in the West to point out how catastrophic a global fight here would be. In the end, all sides back down. Brinkmanship works. Massive retaliation works. Okay?